Earlier today, Braxton Berrios, slot receiver returner for the New York Jets, signed with the Miami Dolphins. I actually don't have the numbers in front of me as to what it's going to be, how many years. But Braxton Berrios is actually one of the signings that I was very expectant. I could kind of see that coming. The Dolphins, Trent Sherfield was a free agent. So bringing somebody else in for a slot receiver was likely going to happen, especially yesterday when we saw Sherfield basically say, peace out, Miami. And Braxton Berrios comes in, didn't have a lot of action last year on a bad Jets offense post Breece Hall going down, a very bad Jets passing offense. He comes over to a much more passing friendly offense where he is all but likely to be the third receiver on this Dolphins team, unless they make any other moves. We're still waiting for a bigger tight end signing. We saw one yesterday, which is kind of like Schaubert or whatever his name is, Sherbert, whatever. But Braxton Berrios comes in, a returner, a slot receiver last season, 18 catches, 145 yards, no touchdowns. His biggest production season was 2021, 46 catches, 431 yards. This is not a glamour signing, which after Jalen Ramsey, I kind of saw this coming, that the Dolphins were not going to make those bigger splash signings. Quite frankly, they don't necessarily have the money to do so. They've already done so much restructuring to try to find money out there. We're going to get some more money from whenever Byron Jones is eventually released. But when I saw, I saw Jalen Ramsey acquired from the Rams, that then for me just took out the possibility of either the safeties, whether it be Jesse Bates, whether it be Jordan Poyer. You don't want to spend so much in one position group, and yes, safeties and corners are different, but secondary pieces as a whole, you'd be paying a lot of money. You'd be paying Jalen Ramsey a lot of money. You'd be paying either of those safeties a lot of money. So I didn't envision a lot of money being allocated to there. And then you look at that same principle with the wide receiver group. The amount of picks you gave up last year for Tyreek Hill, paying him $30 million last year. His cap hit's pretty good this year because you restructured, saved $24 million on that restructuring. And if I'm not mistaken, Tyreek Hill's cap or his cap number next year, let me go on Spot Track real quick. I believe it's $50 million. I don't know if that's exactly true. That's what Donovan told me. So I'm gonna look it up real quick because $50 million. Like, obviously, I don't gotta sit here and be a mathematician to tell you. I am a business major, but I don't have to be a business major to tell you $50 million is a lot of money. He's a cap hit of. Why is it? It's $56 million cap hit in 2026. This year is only a $1.1 million hit. A total or base salary of 1.1, a cap hit of 12.8. Next year is 31. 2026 is 56. So I don't know. Yell at Donovan in the comments, please. If you got to this point, just go down in the comments and yell at Donovan and say whatever you want. It would make me happy, and he'd be so confused. Be like, why are they all mad at me? Because you're dumb. That's why. He's not $50 million cap hit next year. But Braxton Berrios, back to the subject at hand. Braxton Berrios, he's quick. He's a little shifty. He's a little shifty because he's a little guy. He's 5'9", 190 pounds, a very small individual. Like we always call Tua small, but Tua's 6 foot. Me and Don like to joke around because I always call Tua 5'11". He's about 6 foot, playing weight about 210 pounds. He's listed at 220. That's crap. That's just like Bryce Young is listed at 205. No. His playing weight is 190. Bryce Young ate every calorie he could possibly indulge in and got up to 205. Tua, when he's weighing in, he's eating every calorie he possibly can, and he's 220. He's wearing 16 pairs of socks, and he's 6'1", 6'2". I'd be surprised if he's that much above 6 foot. Braxton Berrios is a very little individual. He's a quick individual, which is very effective from the slot position, is very effective in the return game, which ever since Jakeem Grant, the return game has been, put it kindly, a absolute mess for the Dolphins. I mean, we've tried Tyreek Hill, but you're paying him so much money. He's your best player. You don't want him to get hurt. So he's been an only returner in a need basis. Basically, when we need field position, the game's coming down. I think we saw him line up at punt return against the Jets. We've seen Raheem Mostert. We've seen Javon Holland muff a couple punts. We even saw Cedric Wilson taking punts because we're like, bro, do something. Like Cedric Wilson did barely anything for the Dolphins last year. We were expecting him to be the 3, Trent Sherfield to be the 4. Cedric Wilson, I mean, he might as well not even play last year. just because he provided nothing to the team. And then you're like, okay, let's see if you can return punts. And apparently you cannot return punts. He had one decent return and he got lucky that a lane opened up. There was no shiftiness. There was no change of direction. There was no, there was nothing going on there. So basically, I'm convinced he's for sure going to be off the team. So we now have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Trent Sherfield, Eric Ezukama. That might be it in terms of who's on the roster. Obviously, there's probably guys like Braylon Sanders who's there, and some other guys who are practice squad guys and may have somehow got a 2-year deal. But basically the Dolphins need at least one more receiver because I assume Cedric Wilson's going to be gone. If he's not, okay, cool. Try to see what you got there. You try to find something for him to do because he did nothing last year. I mean, he may have even had less receiving yards than Braxton Berrios, who, I mean, if we're being honest, did nothing. He has more of an excuse, though. He had a revolving door of just dog crap quarterbacks. Mike White was the best quarterback, and I'm very happy to have him as the Dolphins quarterback. He takes a shot to the ribs. He's out for, 3 or 4 games? I don't remember. Maybe it was actually even a different injury. He takes a shot from Matt Milano. Again, stop me if you've heard that before. Misses time. And then it's back. Oh, hey, Zach Wilson, are you any good? Oh, no, you're not. Treveler, can you throw the ball? Oh, you underthrew a clear touchdown against the Jags. Okay, you're not good. Joe Flacco. That's all we got. Yeah, the Jets quarterback situation was horrendous, to say the least, last year. So everybody in that Jets offense struggled. And Garrett Wilson found a way to still shine. And my Dolphins bias aside, I'm very excited to see the progression of Garrett Wilson because I think he can be an absolute stud. Elijah Moore, he's probably gone, and he can still be a very talented receiver. He probably belongs in the slot because he's got some great off-the-line speed. I mean, he made Byron Jones look a fool 2 years ago. Little stutter step, cuts in, cuts out, and Byron's on the floor, diving, trying to just scrap at something, and he is gone. That was like a 60, 70-yard touchdown up in New York. That was when Tua had his first long throw of his career. I think it was that game. But got a little off topic. Braxton Berrios comes over. He's 27 years old. He's been in the league now for, I think, 5 or 6 seasons. He's solid. He's got decent hands. He's quick. Got a little speed on him. With good slot receiver. Hopefully when was the last return we had for a touchdown? Was it Jakeem Grant? I mean, I'm assuming it was. I'm just going to assume it's Jakeem Grant just because we haven't had anybody else that can do it. So I'm sure it was Jakeem Grant. I don't even know why it's really that much of a question because I don't want Javon Holland back there. I don't want Tyreek back there. I don't want Waddle back there for different reasons. Raheem Mostert, you know what? Raheem Mostert was all right. There was a few kickoffs that could have gone a little bit differently. He starts off a little slow, which is a little weird. He takes a little hesitation, and then he bursts because we know he has speed. We know he has straight line speed. And he gets into space. We know he can go. We saw that little dump off in the Bills game that he took for like 60 yards. If he's able to consistently do that, then hey, we have a consistent return game. If he's not, oh cool, we got this little dude that plays slot and hopefully can run really fast. Braxton Berrios, not a flashy signing. Not going to be in the Dolphins Hall of Fame one day. He's not going to catch more than 6 or 7 touchdowns. And if I'm wrong, I would love to come to this clip and be like, oh, yeah, I was wrong. He's actually very productive. I hope I come back and say that. I don't expect him to come back and say that, but you never know. Braxton Berrios, solid signing, good signing. You see a few more. We saw an interior lineman. We've seen a little bit of a Jets parade. A bunch of Jets backups have found their way down in Miami. Interior offensive lineman, Mike White, Braxton Berrios. So we've seen some signings come along, and they've done nothing really flashy since Jalen Ramsey. I expect another middle linebacker. The only flashy signing that I could really predict left could be Bobby Wagner, because we were already weak at interior linebacker. So we have Jerome Baker now. We have David Lee. Is that the guy's name? Did I just butcher that? David Lee. Oops, not Key. David Lee, Dolphins. That is not who that is. Whew. Who did we just sign? I'm clearly very intelligent here, guys. Making stuff up on the go. Who you signed with Miami Dolphins? Dolphins pick up a free agency. David Long, not David Lee. David Lee played for the Warriors. Jeez. David Long. David Long, we were already weak at the interior linebacker position. That was my second biggest point of need outside of secondary. So we let Landon Roberts go. He signs with the Steelers today. David Lee comes in a couple of days ago and was definitely a needed signing. Duke Riley comes back. So we have Duke Riley, we have Sam McGuavin, we have Baker, and now we have David Long. Bobby Wagner comes in, and then I feel very good about our interior linebacker position. If you have a 3-man group, I'm pretty sure Fangio runs the 3-4. So you have you can have a rotation. Obviously, for some reason, Jalen Phillips was playing coverage. Melvin Ingram was playing coverage way too much last year. But David Long has much better passing coverage instincts. So you bring him in. If you have a middle linebacker core of David Lee, Bobby Wagner, Jerome Baker, and then Aguavin and Duke Riley backing them up, I feel very good. That'd be a very good addition to the linebacking core. For the receiving core, you have Tyreek, you have Waddle, you have Berrios, you have Ezukama. Maybe he's alive. I don't know. He didn't play. I don't know why. But we need another receiver. I'd like a better running back. But we go into next year with the team we currently have. We've made enough. We've done good enough. And good enough, I hate saying good enough because good enough is never really good enough in my opinion. We've done good enough through this free agency period, just adding a little bit positions of need, added like 1 or 2 offensive linemen, brought all the mediocre running backs back, maybe bring somebody else in, maybe draft one. You add to the interior defensive line, you get a backup quarterback, you get a star secondary piece, which when you let go of Byron Jones eventually, that's a great replacement right there. You bring Nick Needham back. Now we'll see if we bring back Trill Will back. Nick Needham for really cheap too. Very, very excited about that. And I hope he ends up proving it and gets a long-term extension and is able to stay healthy next year. There's some room to be had. There is some improvement still to be had on this Dolphins team, but I've seen improvement in areas that I pointed out earlier on in the offseason that we needed to address. And as of now, we have addressed them. I still am not comfortable where our offensive line is. We need a solid signing on the offensive line. And then if we get like a B level right guard, we get a B- C+ level, I say right guard, right tackle, a B level right tackle, a B- C+ left guard, I'd feel very comfortable, or an actual center and move Connor Williams to left guard. I feel very comfortable about our offensive line. These improvements keep happening, and hopefully we just keep seeing them coming.